Good evening, good evening, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. It's afternoon now. I'm so used to saying good evening. Yeah, it's weird doing this in the afternoon, but here we are. Welcome back, everybody. Last week went all right, so I guess we can go forward with everything. So that's always good. I guess I also have to do some shilling in that case. Yeah, so you come join our Substack. I know I'm a bit behind, but I'm working on getting everything up there. If you don't want to see our faces, and then you can just have the audio only version. If you want some skinny play goodness, we have a link and a discount code. You get 10% off. Let's put that in chat too. Whoop-de-doo. We're also on Twitch, by the way, if for whatever reason you absolutely hate YouTube, which I sometimes understand. And and come join our Discord. We're now over 600 people, so it's oh yeah, you usually have an answer to your question and or topic within, I don't know, I want to say within 10 hours or so. Yeah, and what time zone you're in. I mean, it's weird now. I used to be in the correct time zone for it all, but now I'm no longer. So I wake up and I look on Discord. It's like there's been whole conversations about this, that, and everything. So yeah. And also, if you want to help support the show, a super chat goes a long way. Also guarantees an answer to your topic and or question. And if we can help it, we'll probably solve it. And oh yeah, leave a like. Leave a like. It's free, and it's actually very very helpful because it's the YouTube algo loves likes and that sort of thing, and share it with your friends and that sort of thing. So yeah, how's your week been? Oh no, no sound on you. Oh man. Oh, it defaulted again. What the hell?
There we go. One,
uh,
two, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's just on the Twitch side. Ah, why?
I don't know.
Why?
You get rusty nose after all those months.
Well,
Is it working now?
Yeah, it's working now. Last week it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
And this was literally after a computer sat in parts and I put it together, and it was fine by default. It's been okay all week, and then I start up, and then apparently no, not this
it's
week.
not this week. It's gonna mute. But yeah, no, I didn't jobs, whatever. Did some goofy speaker installs in ceilings, and there was a Monday job. We went to a Drummondville, which is about an hour and a half away. We're doing a pre-wire. We did a pre-wire for the dealership for some, like in-wall speakers and all that in the showroom.
Mm.
And we go in there, and Max is about to cut into this wall. I'm like, bro, hold on a second, man. This wall is not, that wasn't in the plans. So they built a fake wall in front of the wall where all our in-wall speakers are supposed to go. They fucked us right over. Like, really, guys. And it's a wall that is not attached to any structure, just like a free floating wall, like a feature wall.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no way that you could extend the cables, because you can see the cables going in, right? Because it's about, I don't know, like 3/4 meter away. It's just enough for you to see, but not enough to hide it. So yeah, that was fun. And then Thursday, I guess I was off because I had nothing on the schedule. So I sat and I listed all my product covers that I have from B&O on eBay, and was surprised actually how fast some of them sold. And I'm also going to be listing the Beolab 11 So special price for y'all, 1250. But I'm gonna list it for about 1500 on eBay, since that's what they float about. And we'll see about the shipping. But yeah, that's basically what I was doing, just getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff that, it's in the storage locker. I packed up, and I had planned to sell it or list it at least. If anybody wants anything, you can look it up on eBay. So yeah, and that was that. Now it's a long weekend, and it's fucking smoky in here. It's nobody's business. It's actually, I thought that I got away from all this forest fire nonsense in Calgary, or Alberta rather, and BC, but here, like, apparently Quebec fires are even worse, man. Like it's pretty bad outside.
Well, don't light them then.
Right? I just yeah. So that's what's happening. I'm sitting in the house because going outside is like having a really shitty cigar, constantly, right? So yeah, that's basically it. Not much. Funny that our title is 50s versus 90s, because next week one of our dear clients is moving yet again because they're renovating the house that they moved into. And unfortunately for me and the crew, the guy has a set of 90s.
And you have to remove them again.
It's the same ones that we had, like,
Wait, was that the ones where they were in the room where it was really cramped for 90s, but they did it anyway?
That's the one. Yeah, that's the one. It's a temporary. He stayed in that house for a year till they, figure out the plans with the architect how to renovate it, and now he's moving. I think it's only a few houses down because they rented another one right while there is being under construction. But he wants everything set up. Like he DJs too, so he's got like the whole fucking DJ set up in one room, with huge speakers and like the mixing pult and everything, right? Like it's the whole bit. Like it's a whole week of work, which is, it's fun, but the 90s are not going to be fun to move. That's for damn sure. But we figured out how to move them the easiest, which is with the service gates. 3 guys, one each grabs one, long blade, and you can bring them up. It's going to be a bitch because the doors are too narrow, so we have to put them on a moving blanket and then slide them across the floor all the way to the front door, then put them back on the skates, then lift them up, put them on the truck, take the skates off, and we're gonna do one by one. So, one guy in the back of or 2 guys in the back of the van holding the bullhorns on the speakers, and we just gonna fucking putt this thing all the way a few houses down. Oh God. And yeah, so that's gonna be fun times.
Oh, but, I spent a decent chunk of money, by the way, and it matches the speakers, so I'm kind of I know people have their thoughts about it, but I like it a lot. Yes, dude, this thing is so much fun. Nah. This thing is so much fun. It's also this blue. I didn't take a good picture, so I just thought I'd look up a similar picture. But the grill is like that. It's very 50s. God, the wheels are at the corner of this thing, and the turning circle is amazing. I mean, on like a 2-way street, you don't even have to 3-way turn. You just like go whoop, and you're almost in your own lane still. So yeah, and it's I mean, in terms of interior space, it's almost as big as my Golf was, if not a little bit bigger, because it just has front wheel drive instead of all wheel drive. I mean, we'll get something funner as a next car or additional car or a third car or whatever. But for now, this we bought it second hand, but it had 275 miles on it. Yeah. No, he actually died. Yeah. No, a veteran, older gentleman. He bought one. Oh God, you're muted again. No. Oh. Anyway,
I wasn't saying anything, anyways.
Yeah, I know you hate it. It's fine. You should be back now.
All right.
Sorry, everybody. Ah, you're back again.
Can you fit a set of lab ones in it?
Yes. I mean, they'll be basically at the front of the dashboard, but it's bigger than you think.
Mm.
I mean, the amount.
No, I've seen them drive around here. I just, it's not something that I would be caught doing.
No, but essentially, right, for the next year or so, we have no real plans of going anywhere other than maybe Miami if you finally make it someday.
Mm-hmm.
So besides that, the furthest we have to go is maybe an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing sips fuel.
What's the engine size on it?
2 liter.
Okay.
It has like 150, 160 horsepower. But
Okay.
it doesn't weigh anything. So it's actually quite zippy. It reminds me a lot of an old Mini when Minis were still made in England.
Mini.
Right? Yeah.
Those cars go big over time, man. It's
Oh,
not a
they're
Mini
chunky
anymore.
now. They're just called Mini, but they're no longer small.
No, they're no longer small at all. Like it's yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I like this thing a lot. Actually, it's very roomy. It sips fuel. It's crazy. Like,
Does it have good air conditioning?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
That is quite important.
Like you actually get too cold.
Well, that's good.
And
when it gets to like 38, 40 degrees, it's
I mean, it's pretty loaded for like an econo box. It has a sunroof with the tilt thing, and
how's the sound system?
Surprisingly good.
Hmm.
That's what actually partially drew me to it. I think it has something like 8 speakers in there.
Is it a certain brand or is it just the Kia brand, I guess?
I have no idea. I think it's probably Harman Kardon or some
most likely
unnamed brand kind of thing. I don't know if it's Bose, but I mean, even Bose is no longer Bose, essentially. It's all Harman Kardon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. Guy says, you keep talking up, but no one is convinced. That's okay. I don't care. It's my car, not yours.
Yeah, it's fine. I just sorry.
I mean, at least I have a garage where another car fits, and then I have a drive where I can put another car. Like,
yeah, you couldn't do that where you were before.
Oh, absolutely not. No. I mean, I could technically, but the parking a month would have been like 250, 275 euro a month.
Per stall?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, and that's before you get to the road tax and stuff, which you don't have here. But no, like if you throw the back of the seats flat, it's like I can already, like with the back seats up, I can fit more stuff in the back than I could in my Golf.
Mm-hmm.
Like your Audi is a slightly different thing, right? Because it has an actual trunk. But the Golf R has a very small trunk. Like you can fit 2 checked bags, and that's basically it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all because the back floor comes up for the all-wheel drive system.
Yeah.
Like a GTI is way more useful for most times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I like it. And the Smurf Blue... it's called Surf Blue, but I mean, it's basically a Smurf. I mean, this is the first car I've had with a bold color, and I noticed the difference because people are so fucking friendly to you. Like you're sitting at a stop sign, right? And there's a road that doesn't have a stop sign, and everybody just waves you through all the time. Like, that's I know funny. It's not particularly fast or anything, but I really don't care. Like, we spend half the time in the US here in parking lots anyway.
Technically, yes. Either it's a highway parking lot or a mall parking lot. Because the traffic is pretty crazy.
God, half the time in this country you're in parking lots because you just drive from one place to another and everything has a parking lot that's enormous.
Mhm.
and then it's kind of hot here, so you spend, I don't know, 5 minutes looking for the place closest to the shop or under a tree.
Yep. Because by the time you get back to the car, it's like 400 degrees inside it, and you can bake a turkey in it.
Yeah, the previous rental we had was red, and God, did that get hot! Like the only thing worse is a black car here.
That's what I have, and it's
So
terrible.
yeah, so we purposely chose blue. I mean, the only downside is the black interior, so it still gets a bit toasty, but it's nowhere near as bad as the red
Get
car
one of
was.
those silver windshield things. I got one for my Audi as well. Like it cuts down quite a bit of cooking heat inside.
Yeah, we haven't gotten around to that yet because we park indoors here, so
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
no.
But if you go out, then it matters because then you get in the car. It's just like, oh my god, I can't even hold the steering wheel.
Yeah.
That's that's worse than in the winter here. Because in the winter, at least you can just drive with pinkies and switch fingers, right? Because the steering wheel is like freaking super cold.
I mean, it's, by the way, it's weird. So I had a Golf 7R, right, with like sat nav and that sort of thing. This thing
Mhm.
has that too, but like even the base car, like this one has like an 11-inch screen in it now. It's enormous.
Well, the screens in cars are now a common thing. I don't think that you can buy a screen without an LCD panel in it anymore. That's a default now.
I mean, even the screen in like the dials is all screen now.
Hmm.
One thing that is super Florida, it has the auto start on the fob, so you can start it so the AC starts blowing before you get in the car.
That's cool. That's actually a very nice feature.
Yeah, and it works from quite a distance. Like it literally has a hold button. You press it and you hold it, and the car just starts up without unlocking or anything.
It's not a hybrid on any of that goofy shit, eh? It's
No,
just a regular.
it's
Okay, it's
not
just a
needed.
regular
It would
gas
just
car.
make it heavy.
Mm.
No, this car is like, I don't know, 1,100 kilos, something like that.
It's not bad.
I mean, I'm not entirely sure what it does kilometers to the liter, but I think it's around 15 or so.
Hmm.
So you really, and that's without caring, without eco driving, right? That's just normal, like going with everything. It's hilarious,
Hmm.
especially with the gas prices here compared to Europe. Like, holy hell, is that a nice thing?
It's cheaper here.
Oh, it's so much cheaper. It's at the moment it's like $3.15 a gallon. And in the
Mhm.
Netherlands, it's like if you were to convert it back to a gallon, it's about $8.50 a gallon.
Damn.
Yeah. So driving is fun again
Hmm.
because you're not spending an arm and a leg on everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a big purchase this week, and then we got worse news, as in some. Well, it's not worse as in terrible, but the moving company contacted me again. It's like, so we're looking to get your stuff to Wisconsin. It's like, wait, what?
What?
Well, there was an address in Wisconsin, and we thought I had to go there. It's like, no, that was the import address. The delivery address was never ever Wisconsin. It's like,
Fuck
oh,
off.
well, we can change that. It's like, but I already told you guys this like a month ago when you contacted me. It's like, yeah, but that was a different department. I'm your actual planner. It's like, and you don't
Well, what the fuck,
talk?
man?
It's like,
Yeah.
it's like, apparently
What?
not, but I'll have to charge you then since it's going somewhere else. It's like, but I never told you to bring it to fucking Wisconsin.
So what's happening now? Is it actually in fucking Wisconsin?
No, it's still in New York. It's been through
The
customs.
customs, yeah.
It cleared customs like close to a month ago now, and it's just been sitting in New York somewhere
Why?
because they haven't planned for it or something. Because it's the South, and we don't go to the South as often, or is now the excuse. And now the regional manager for Florida has to like plan it out or something. which means that
Jesus.
they'll tell him, but it may take 2 weeks or so before he actually sees the email. Which is like, what?
Fucking mail him a letter is probably faster then.
Yeah, but then it goes at the bottom of the stack, right? Because you like,
Oh my god.
So I'm like asking, like, what are you saying? So like, is this like a month from now? It's like, yeah, more or less. And it's like, okay, this is shit. So, but when will I be notified when it comes? It's like the day before.
What the fuck, bro?
What do you mean the day before? So like between 2 weeks from now and 6 weeks from now, I essentially can't go anywhere because the day before you may tell me that you're going to be here. Like,
Jesus Christ, man. That's a freaking clown fest.
yeah. Well, it's not the Dutch moving company because like international moving companies work in like this worldwide conglomeration, but it's the American side that's fucking up. And I'm not enjoying it because I'm still on a fucking garden chair here. And I feel like my knees are in my armpits while I sit at this desk.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is one of these sit-stand desks again. And it's...
This is the lowest it goes.
Nearly, but it's a good 15 centimeters lower than my other desk is when it was my regular chair.
Oh, God.
So the 2 hours we're here, I'm sitting with like my knees above my hips all the time. And I stand up like an old man going, oh!
Well, I'm the same. I'm sitting on the freaking dining chair, basically. But
yeah, but this is lower than a dining chair.
Yeah, I guess this works. Just the computer's too high up for me. Like where I like it. It is what it is. Sometimes you just gotta deal with what you've got.
I mean, I also just want all my B&O gear here. Like, I want to inspect it. Like, I want something to listen to. At this point, I'm better off ordering something at my dealer, like an A5 again or something, because it'll be here sooner than my stuff. It's like,
that's insane. Yeah, that's insane.
So it's it's been a bit of a shit show.
Yeah, I didn't foresee that coming with the moving company that they just start shitting the bed over here on the other side. Like, because it was going pretty smooth to begin with.
Yeah, I mean there was
or at least on the European side of things.
Yeah, the only hiccup there is that our container was picked for extra inspection, but
of course,
I don't think it was our stuff. It's the way it works, right? Because we didn't take it like a container full of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So they section off the containers in either like 4, 8, or 16 or 12 or something like that, and then they put these containers through these giant X-ray machines, and if they see something weird, the whole container gets checked.
Mm-hmm.
And that delayed it by a week or so. But that was fine, like a week, who cares? Mm-hmm. But then, I mean, it went through US customs in like, I don't know, 2 days. Like it arrived and it was through customs in like 48 hours, if not less. And yeah, and then it's just been sitting there because they don't know what address to use somehow.
Like, but they don't got a phone to call or email to send out from? Like, what the fuck? I don't get it. That's a bit frustrating.
Yeah. Let me see. Where is it? Yeah, it's been there for nearly a month. Just sitting in New York, doing nothing.
Anybody in chat has experienced any weirdness with their Beolab 28s since the new update? Like not showing up in the app or anything? Just wondering, because we have a few instances.
Wired or wireless?
Wireless.
Huh. Interesting.
I also have one client that only has one Beolab 28. She just bought one, and it falls off the network. Like, it's on the network when it plays, but it falls off the app. It doesn't show up on the app as available. It's grayed out all the time.
So back to tradition, because that's what I had quite often when they were new. Like it was almost always the one you set up as the slave speaker that dropped.
Yes.
Huh.
I had one guy that has 28s on WiSA from the TV, but we've also set him up as wireless stereo, because then he doesn't have to use the panel or turn on the TV at all, right? We can use them just separately. And I only talked to him. He had one dropout after the software update came on, and I just said, listen, unplug the master, unplug the secondary speaker, and then plug in the primary first, give it 15 to 20 seconds, and then plug in the secondary. So they boot up basically in sequence to one another, and then they'll just harmonize and connect properly. And waited with him on the phone. It did it. No issues since. Haven't talked to him ever since then. So it's good. But that one single Beolab 28 is really weird issue. And also, you don't have a sonic, the Beosonic capability when it's only single speaker for some reason.
I think that is because you set it up with two. If you set them up as singular speakers, it'll function correctly. But
no. That's for the client that has only one Beolab 28. She does not have ability to do Beosonic.
Huh.
But
wait, so you actually had a client that just bought one?
Yeah, we're the first ones in fucking US, I guess, or North America to just sell one Beolab 28 gold one. It looks great. We need to convince her to get another one. But yeah, like in a standalone Beolab 28 mode, I find that the behavior is more or less the same as a Beosound 1 Gen 3, I guess, on the Mozart, which I must say, and I really think that the Mozart platform Beosound 1 sounds better.
Beosound 2, you mean?
Or sorry, Beosound 2 sounds better than the Gen 3 or Gen 2, whatever. Yeah, Gen 2.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
The bass is way more controlled for some reason. I don't know why, how, or what. It's not heavier in any way, so it doesn't make any difference. But
would you say it's noticeable if you can't A/B test it?
No.
Because that's what I remember from the Mark 1 Beosound 2 to the Mark 2, right? Because mine is Mark 1, and I had an opportunity to get a Mark 2, but it was kind of like, I don't want the GVA and nonsense, and if I don't have one next to each other or another one in the house of a different mark, then I don't hear the difference anyway. Because it just sounds as it sounds, and the Mark 1 sounds fine.
Yes. Yeah, it's interesting that how like the clarity is definitely, it's much more crisper.
Maybe just a higher resolution of a higher resolution DAC, so to say.
It could be. I don't know how that Mozart chip is built. Like, is it just the interface, or is the DAC actually on it as well that takes care of all of that? That's what I don't understand.
Question, but I don't know. Maybe I would have,
because that's the logical explanation to why it's better, right? Because like, I guess if you look at the old Beosound 2 or the ASE platform, it's still just it's a board. It's an ASE board. So the cats are tripping. So yeah, that's, to me, that's, is it the different DAC, or are there
like
using are they using
my desk is like when I
oh my god. So are they using different algorithms for the DAC, or are they using different DACs altogether? Like, it's a very interesting question, how they how or why does that sound better? Because even the A9 sounds better than the Gen 3, the Gen 4 with the Mozart on it. It just sounds better.
Yeah, it could also be tuning, because that's what they said when they went from Mark 1 to Mark 2, that they had a slightly different tuning. But that shouldn't make that much difference alone.
Mm-hmm.
It must also be parts, right? Surely.
Well, the Mozart chip is completely different from the ASC board, right?
Yeah. I mean,
So
do we actually know if, like, what's the limitation on streaming services on the ASE board? Like, is it 16-bit? Is it 24-bit?
I
Thinking of
think it
it,
was lossless. No, hold on a second. I don't remember. I know that like on the TV on my old Avant, I was able to play 24-bit 196 kilohertz or 192 kilohertz, whatever it is. I
yeah,
was able to play it,
but that
but
was,
that's on the TV. But I
yeah,
don't like. I don't think. Well, at the time I had a moment. I don't know. I don't have a core to test out. Uh,
because I think the core topped out at 24-bit 96.
I don't think I have any music here. No.
Christian says one
I
of the
do.
things that have been done is the ABL have been tuned, allowing less distortion when playing loud.
That makes
Sweet.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense then.
Sorry,
Oh
one of my
God.
cats is just being a dick. He's just like, he comes in and meows at me and then leaves and meows at me.
They're not used to this podcast nonsense this early in the morning. I mean, afternoon.
Yeah, they don't know what to make of it at all.
Mm. So, but yeah, I never really played with like the only time that I really played with like the high resolution files and all that nonsense was when I first got to 90's and after the software version for it self microphone tuning came out when I did it for the first time. That's when I took my laptop, I plugged in the hard drive with all the the not the lossless but like the studio master recordings music that I had collected over the years from the clients, and I plugged in the USB directly into the 90's and listened to it, and that was an experience. That was definitely a very interesting experience as far as like I've never heard anything cleaner in my life than that when it comes to music, especially like Michael Jackson per se. Like his recordings are amazing for how even the remastered ones, like it's really really well done, and it's a good music. You know what I mean? It's an artist and a legend. But like listening to that on a platform that's capable of actually delivering that resolution, such as 90's are or 50's as well, it's a completely different listening experience. Line and nose levels also improve on the new BeoSound 3 and A9. You know what, Christian? We haven't really played with it. I do appreciate that it's that the A9s, the fourth gen, come with USB-C to an analog adapter. That's very cool. But we haven't really had the instance where we would be needing to, let's say, plug in a turntable yet into it or whatever. Because I guess the way that we sell that package or any of the I guess B&O that I've seen Kareem sell it is he does try to get people to divert from other streaming services and go to Deezer because it's native to the B&O's platform. Yes, it takes a little bit of time to migrate your library, but then over time, like if you look at the benefit of investment of time over the ownership of the product, it just makes sense to like move from Spotify. And quite honestly, if you move from Spotify, the sound quality is very much different from the Deezer Hi-Fi. Yes, it costs a little bit more, but you know what? We're at the age in society that we face our problems, or we live our life with death by thousand cuts when it comes to the streaming services, because there's Amazon Prime, there's YouTube, there's Disney Plus, there's Cineplex, there's this and that, there's Netflix, there's fucking YouTube as well, right? Boom, and all of a sudden, like you're paying more than you used to pay for your shitty TV that doesn't have anything other than 90% commercials in it for Pfizer. So
Not even joking on this side of the pond. Holy hell.
No, this is for real. Everything's sponsored by Pfizer here. So that's, sorry to digress, but that's where, it makes more sense for us to migrate the client into, like, it makes no sense for you to pay for tune-in radio when you have BNO radio built into your platform and it's free and it's got the same amount of stations. It costs you nothing. It's got no commercials. It's funny because like I listen to comedy, Radio Storm comedy, which I used to listen to in Alberta for a long time.
Mm.
After 2 weeks of living in here and listening to it like in constant, the commercials now switch to French. So
bonsoir, mon ami.
right, and then it just like cuts in mid to a commercial that was in US, and then the program I guess continues. But at any rate, like that's the, I guess, my personal observation. We had very little instances where we went line in from like the BeoSound 3 or A9. We've done a few theaters with audio input. The one thing that I found out, I'm not like the Sonos hater, but I never really, I didn't have much respect for that because it's just to me it's just a BS product in a way. It's solidly built. But one thing that I observed this week when I was on one of the installs, that the Sonos soundbar and like the Sonos Go thing, right?
Mm.
If you're watching an HDMI input off the TV and you join it, or you can expand that experience through the app into like that portable deal, it's perfectly synchronized. It's not possible to do it with BNO, and I do not understand why can I not have, let's say, if I'm watching a documentary or let's say recently I started consuming a lot of stand-up comedy just on the YouTube because it's fucking funny, right? But if I want to join the emerge in the bathroom, like if I want to have a shower and just basically have that same experience, I'm unable to do that. I have to turn off the sound in the theater or put it down to like 5 because there's almost 200 milliseconds or 50 milliseconds difference in voice sync. So it's impossible to listen to, and I don't understand why are we still having that limitation per se on the Mozart platform when it's supposed to be much more capable, and apparently we're only utilizing the 50% of it so far. So maybe let's put another 10% of the utility on it and let's get that synchronized.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because I don't see how that can be such a big limiter, because at the end of the day, if you join something to the soundbar, why doesn't the soundbar just synchronize with the rest of it? The rest of it needs to be delayed just as much as the soundbar is. And that's it.
Yeah, I've been wondering that for quite a while, because back in the day, well, I guess it was all wired, but even if you're wired with any of this stuff, it still isn't in sync.
Right. So yeah, we had that issue with one installation where we did Avant Gen 2. Terrible. Beautiful TV, terrible operating system. It's just terrible.
Yeah, if anybody's looking for an Avant, go for Mark 1.
Yeah,
it's
don't do that.
Last full-on B&O TV, and it's epic.
Yes,
and it's good.
I do agree with the picture quality is much superior to the Gen 1 versus the Gen 2 because the display was better and blah, blah, blah. That's, I guess, the biggest argument that would be more or less for the BV11 to BV14, where, it's the same TV, but the panel is now 4K. But when it comes to the operating system, it's just a little crazy. But we had that issue even going through from the BeoSystem 3 through the NLML converter. There was a 9000 in the mix, and we just could not, even with the delay box, there was something that the BeoSystem 3 did not like about having the converter in the mix, and it just never worked properly. So we had to take it out and basically for the source inputs we had to use Sonos. Because you already had a whole bunch of them, so then at least you can synchronize those with the delay boxes. So, but yeah.
Yeah, so I have a small shopping list, and potentially there's 90's on them. Well, mostly because a friend of the show really wants my 50's, so...
Okay.
And yeah, now all of a sudden it's like, I could buy some 90s.
Yeah, Christian, if you can pull some strings after the holidays,
Yeah, I mean, I know it's
it'd be cool.
there's a lull in Bio news because was it July, August, everybody's gone for like 2 months.
Yeah,
So
but
happy
I
summer.
think that happy summer for you guys for sure. Enjoy it, and then when you come back, I think it's full steam ahead. Because I'm sure there's going to be something new coming out, but I also hope that the software, in that regard, I guess, as far as the synchronization of the HDMI outputs with the network link would be absolutely pivotal benefit. Because I can actually tell you a client that we have in Ottawa that his Gen 1 Avant died, right? The video engine died.
Again.
And no, for him it was the first time.
Oh.
But then he goes, well, do I spend, almost $4,500 to get the video engine swapped, because we would have to, it takes two guys. It's a 3-hour trip just to get there, to swap the stuff and make it work. If it all turns on in the way it's supposed to, it's about 2 hours, because, well, you don't have to take the display off, because that we did that was a freaking full day. But you do it all with due care and diligence. Then you put the thing back together because it's on the wall bracket. Yes, you can do it on the wall bracket too, but I just put it on a service feed. Blah blah. Redo all of that, and then have what? Maybe another 3 years off that panel for $4,000. It's not worth it as an investment goes. So they decided to buy a theater with a 65-inch G2 panel on a motorized wall bracket. And it's funny. I don't know if this was more or less the planned engineering on the B&O side, but the screws are almost very much aligned. Like if you put it where it worked out perfect. I'm not complaining at that point at all. It worked out perfect as far as putting the new TV on, because that was the biggest issue. I'm like, this thing has a crane arm, right? The Avant, and the other one comes from the bottom of it holds the entire theater with the panel on it.
Yeah.
But the way that the bracket attaches, there was only a few screw holes that stayed up. They were too high, blah, blah, blah. They taped them up and whatever. But the problem was that it's an open concept apartment. So he has the theater and let's say, the living room part of it. And then on the other side is like a breakfast nook / den / whatever. They sit there, and there's a BeoSound 4 with a set of Beolab 4s.
Mm-hmm.
But the BeoSound 4 goes out master link into the NLML converter. That has the link eye on the wall, and the speakers are coming out of the NLML converter. So the BeoSound 4 is basically just a source. It's not controlling anything. So when they listen to B&O radio or vice versa, from one room to the other, there's synchronization is perfect. But if because they're old people and they want to listen to their Stingray music, right, which you are now familiar with here, the higher channels that have the black screen on the TV and the music goes, and they are very much used to that. So if they do that, then there's a freaking delay between the rooms, or between the two products within the same open space, and it's unlistenable to. So to me, that's something that really should be looked at as a new venture to synchronize these things. Because if Sonos can do it for freaking, I don't even know how, a few $100s per product type of thing that you pay for, like it's not, it's not impressive at all as far as the Sonos is, like, handling the product and looking at it and dealing with it. It's okay,
it's
but
plastic.
It's plastic, and like these cheap mesh or whatever. Like it sounds okay. But on the other hand, I do have to give them credit when there's due. Their software is fucking ridiculous bulletproof. Like it just works. It really, I haven't had a single experience with even the old products or new products. And I'm not saying that, that's what I live for. I very rarely deal with that. I'd rather watch the guy set up the Sonos than put that virus on my computer as far as the app goes. But it's very, very surprising to me how good is their interface and setup. And like when you set up a stage, sometimes it connects to the Wi-Fi network. You see the two lights are white, it's on the network, but then in the app it's still circling that it's just and then it goes failed to connect to the product. and then you have to close the app, go back to the app, and then it shows as a nearby again, but it's already on the network, and then it catches on and finishes due process of setup, which kind of like, where's the hiccup on that? Why? So it's not a rant. It's just it's a more or less a cry for suggestion to fix these things, because I can't believe that I am the only one, and the people in Ottawa are the only ones that are utilizing video sources, that would like to utilize video sources for the multi-room distribution. I just don't believe I'm the only one.
You're not, but like my personal solution was always get bigger speakers and turn it up. This is why I always had like separate rooms and never was fully into the multi-room, because it's just like get some big ass speakers, aka 50s, and if you need to listen on the other side of the house, volume up. You'll be able to hear it.
Well, yeah, but then it's like, you're blowing heads off in the living room just to have decent volume in the bedroom.
That's okay. It's right? Just me.
So, but if you live alone, it's not the big issue or whatever. But it's still like, for me, if I'm having a shower, I'm not going to have the theater just screaming through the entire thing, and then my neighbor's going to fucking go off a rocker. So I'd rather have the doors closed and have an emerge playing, and once you open the door, you can actually hear that play in unison, not like, oh fuck, I gotta pause that because that's annoying, and so on and so forth. So that's my only a real big wish for the new like a major software update step that I would appreciate from BNO. Honestly, you guys have 2 months of sipping margaritas on the beach or whatever.
Have a think about it.
So I don't believe that anybody that works in BNO does not work with that, or does not live with, or if they do live with BNO product, they have never done that. Like, even when you listen to, let's say you just can't afford a stage, so you put an LG panel on a stage, and you have let's say an M3 that you bought on fucking a Black Friday a few years back, like my case was, for stupid cheap, and you want to listen to both in the same time from, let's say, YouTube. Like, if you just like YouTube music because you're a subscriber to the YouTube monthly fees and shit, you are unable to do that because it's shared video source. So
yeah, it was the same in my old apartment. Whenever I joined the stage to the theater or whatever, there was always it was fortunately far enough away that the delay wasn't too bad, and it was sort of in sync in the middle of the hallway.
Yeah,
but if they were one was excessively louder, it was perpetually noticeable.
Yes,
and it's kind of like, well, never mind then, just turn it up. But that's a bad solution to something that others do. Christian says Sonos is the new Bose. Not at all. Sonos is actually quite decent at what it
I think they're very advanced in what they're doing. Even for me, the way that they're doing the acoustic setup, they actually make you walk around with the phone once you are in the calibration app from that little soundbar, and I don't know how the fuck does it know. It has to use some sort of a proximity deal going on, and it figures out. And if you don't walk around the entire room with that app being in the measurement setting or mode, right, when it's doing it, it won't let you set it up. It knows that no, you need to walk around the whole bloody room, center, front, blah blah. I was watching Etienne do it. I'm like, it's like a shitty magician with the phone. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, this is what we have to do, right? And it just does these little weird test tones, and you walk around the room, and it's like a shaman, for fuck's sakes. You blessing the sound everywhere. So once he was done blessing the good sound everywhere, it did make a difference, obviously. But it's something that I wonder if that's not something that could be a capability, let's say, for a future platform or current platform Mozart, where yes, if we're underutilizing that processing power, why not have that as an option? If the A5 is going to be doing that proximity thing based on how far you are with the phone from the thing, then and also where it's sitting based on its 3 microphones that constantly measure the room or its surroundings, I don't think that we're that far off to do something like that. Maybe the only reason that it's blocked or it can't be done is because the patents. That would be the only thing that I could think of, that that Sonos has patented their shaman room blessing for sound deal going on, and you can't.
Well, it may also be the structure of the company. It seems to me like Sonos is a tech company that sells speakers, whereas B&O is a speaker company that tries to do tech.
Well, but they don't have a choice. Like, you have to do tech now because everything is, like everything is 90% is software and maybe 10% now is mechanical movement. If you think about it, like, and when it comes to the movement, you only have few things that do have that old traditional B&O, magic of movement. Like, you have the Eclipse. Well, all the TVs on motorized brackets per se, but when it comes to like anything else, the only ones that are magical in every sense of the word are the Beolab 28s, and they are magical also when they work properly. So those are the only things that have anything that would I guess be heavily reliant on their mechanical engineering expertise of yesteryears of making the motors quiet and all that nonsense, and with the lamellas opening up and down and the 50s lens go up and down, so on and so forth. But then when it comes to the software, which is 90% of the product, the only place that they really suffer with is the user interface, and sometimes interface between the products themselves. Given point,
I think the app is now to the point where the app is not the best app, but it's fully usable. It's more
but the app is really good now. I actually like the Android update more on it than what it is on the Apple, because they separated the bar where it says the zone currently selected with the play button and a skip button on it. That's now
that's
black,
the same on Apple
and below,
as well.
and below the like the home link and Deezer and radio buttons are also white, and they turn orange depends on which one tab you're in currently. So I like that a lot, and the whole thing is, the user interface is much better. There's still some hiccups that I can't explain. Like sometimes that the theater just the app crashes mid theater tuning, and then you have these ghost presets that are not appearing in the app, but they show up as blank in the Beo Remote 1. And there's
that's
no
what
way
I tried to say.
delete
Like,
that.
the app is okay, but it's the communication from the app to the product that's sometimes a bit weird.
It's a bit wonky, yeah. So it's always a toss up. And I also don't understand one thing: how many Beo Remote 1 chassis have we pre-made? Because all the Beo Remotes ones that we get right now are like really, really, really old software on them. So when I pair the remote to like, now what I do is, if there's like we did a theater with the A5 setup, right? So the first thing I did, I cracked the A5 out of the box, set up the A5 on the customer's app, ran its software updates, blah blah, paired the goddamn Bluetooth remote to it, or the Beo Remote 1.
Mm-hmm.
It took 40 minutes, bro, to update, because it was 2 versions back. It was 20 minutes per update. So in the meantime, we were busy putting the theater on the wall. So but I'm like, I knew that because I already got kicked in the balls like that once, where you finish up and you start explaining, and all of a sudden, okay, so let's turn off the theater, Mr. Client, and I'll give you the remote so you can operate. And all of a sudden, poof, fucking 0% update, 1% turns on. I'm like, oh, tabak. Now we're done for 20 minutes just looking at it, right? Because it's really, really, really slow. So
it's slightly faster if you hold it closer to the product.
I don't find it, like, we use like literally, I had the Beo Remote 1 sitting on top of the A5 when it was updating there, and it took 20 minutes per version of update, and yeah, it was a little pain in the ass. But if you know and if you can foresee that, then it's easier to do it in a way that, if I just do a solo theater with a 65-inch panel, depends if it's on the wall, blah blah, or this and that, I always try to plug in the theater right away. And while I either assemble the wings on it and whatever, because like, I don't just put the wings on, I put all that Tessa tape and all that nonsense, right? Because it does remove all the vibrations from it. Like, they haven't really caught on that from the production side of things. I had uploaded all the images of where it's lacking the padding. So nothing's ever happened about that. So I do it still for every client that we have. It takes, extra 10 minutes to cut the Tessa tape into thin strips and put it exactly where it needs to be. And then I assemble all that. But while that happens, depending on the situation, I already have the theater plugged in and trying to get it paired and worked out. So once that's done and you pair the remote to it and have it do its thing, by then we're ready to either put it on the wall or whatever case may be, right? Because usually, you hang the TV, pull the cables to it, and then, one guy holds the theater and connect it and so on and so forth. But yeah, also, secondly, the observations that I have, I have no criticism of any kind when it comes to the new software that I've put on. Everything works flawlessly. Yeah, these are the little areas where I had attached, or I do attach Tessa tape. Like the one on the bow, I guess, is by default by B&O, and it's weird because some have like this plastic, looks like a ultra flexible electrical tape, and the other ones have a Tessa tape. So I don't know if there's a few different production facilities that these wings come out of.
Maybe they ran out of a roll. It's like, what else do we have here?
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, so that's what I pad. And I also on the back, see, these are the wings themselves. So I put a little strip of Tessa tape into that machine groove where it flushes in with the front. And also there's Tessa tape on all along the edge of that little plastic fin where I actually put it on the top where you can see it. I also unscrew those little silver screws that are there to loosen the wing, and then I put it from the bottom because that's the most pivotal one, because that's where it tends to sing at certain frequencies. So that's the solution, and I think that B&O should definitely look into it for the amount of money that people pay for that. It shouldn't vibrate, and this is something that it's very, very easy to do. This is a little bit of an overkill, to be honest, because over time I found out that you don't need to do the bottom lining, just the two strips in between the screws on the top, and then it removes it. It's just solid. It doesn't make any difference. So you can skip a little bit there, but at the end of the day, this is it. And then this is a window seal tape. It's a 1 centimeter square, basically, or a square, because it's 1 centimeter wide, 1 centimeter tall, compressive. And I've put that all over the back panel. So when the cables are there, everything is neatly pressed against the chassis of the VESA mount, and there is nothing sings and vibrates and makes noise. The only thing that does make noise is if you're standing behind the G2 panel, it's the right side past the VESA mount that has a little bit of a vibration. And this is also a little bit of an OCD project of mine that I did, but I did put Tessa tape on each of the fripping lamellas on the sample one that we have. The biggest problem with that is that I've recently observed is we had one oak lamella grill cover that came in absolutely mangled. I don't know if it got stepped on or something, but there was 14 lamellas fucked on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had Kareem to order 2 bags because it's just 10 in each. And boy, they were fucking hard to put on, man, because the wood was still moist.
Oh.
But in the climate that we're at, the wood dries up and it starts to rattle in these fucking fins, man, because it starts to get loose. It doesn't fall out per se because it's locked in by that little slip tongue, but they do start, especially around the woofer part, they start to vibrate. So,
well, that won't be a problem here in Florida. It's way too damp here.
Yeah, they'll be swollen as hell over there. But like in the climate where we're here, exactly, they're not gonna vibrate with shit. But in the climate north climates of Canada per se, and I find Montreal is very humid comparatively to what Calgary was. So I couldn't even imagine how quickly these would dry up in Calgary, and to the point where they would be just literally like jiggles. So, and for the amount of money that these things cost, I understand the machining of those little goofy lamellas is pretty immaculate, I guess, and very, I don't know if it's time consuming because it's all machines anyways, but they should be gluing these onto the lamellas, or onto the grill. They should glue these lamellas on. That's my personal opinion. For how much the grill actually costs, it should be glued.
Yeah, but for how much it costs, the packaging should also be way sturdier.
The packaging is absolutely minimal. I really do not understand. Like, I
It's
remember back in the
very
day,
thin
like,
cardboard. It's very thin.
it's a joke. It's absolutely a joke. Like, and it's not that, like, yes, you need to make it so it can be stepped on and stuff, but
You can
should
step
it?
on the theater in its packaging. That's fine.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't
I
advise
mean,
that.
no, I wouldn't advise it, but you can. It's strong enough to take it.
Well, only on the sides. If you do it in the middle, you're gonna go right through the fucking conical tweeter.
Sure, but like,
I'm gonna make another coffee. Hold
I
on.
mean, it's
But
it's
yeah,
a different class of cardboard, right? Like, it's actually strong.
it's thicker.
Yeah.
Yes, but the theater, I mean the theater, well, the theater grill is absolutely a joke, man. Like, we have a ton of them that come in, and like, I had dark oak that came in broken on the sides, and I don't even know how many oak lamellas I had to re-glue and fix. But it's just, you got to do what you got to do. But I think it's just, yeah, it's a little bit poorly designed, in my opinion. Sorry, I'm gonna mute myself for a second here.
I mean, the theater cover is essentially in a shaped brown paper bag, because I mean,
Pretty much.
the even the Eclipse cover had a stronger box, and that quite often ended up as a hockey stick.
Oh, I got a couple of those hockey sticks for sure over time, and
But
it's
but that box was stronger than even this is.
oh yeah. Like,
So I'm kind of like hoping, fingers crossed, that mine is fine.
well, if it isn't, we'll just get you some wood lamellas here.
I'm not too worried, but it's like, it would be nice to have everything in one piece and not have to sort of fuck around with insurance and that sort of nonsense again.
Yeah, that sucks.
I mean, also, insurance is basically, I have to check everything within a few days of receiving it anyway, which is kind of annoying because I probably most likely won't be having any need for any of it until like a while from now.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, I especially mean the 50s, right? Because like the living room needs to be done, and there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done where they're just safer in their boxes in the garage.
Yes, but you're still gonna crack them open and see.
I must. Because if there's
Yeah.
like a massive scratch down the side, and if I wait 2 weeks, they say, well, you could have done that.
You did it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, so I must, and I must also check function, because they straight up told me that if you don't have proof of them functioning, we will not turn
Insure
out any.
them.
Oh no, they'll insure them, but we just like not functioning is not a guarantee for giving you any money of any kind. Which is like,
Fuck.
why would I insure them and take them with then? Like, this makes no sense. So before I left, I had to go past all the speakers and prove that everything worked.
Well, it's also good for you to know that that they know that it did.
Yeah. I'm kind of thinking of in the near future getting the Mark V A9 with like with my Beogram 2000, right, and just having the A9 on the wall and the turntable below that. I think that could be really cool. And also, it'll be like what I did back in the day with my Beosound 9000, where the A9 is actually the hub for like whole house record sound. Because
Yeah, why not? Are you gonna do some Halo remotes?
Don't know yet. I have one. I like it, but I seem to gravitate a lot more to the normal Beo remote.
I like the halo on the wall. Actually, we put one in the showroom on the wall beside the huge freaking shape. I like it a lot. I do like the remote.
Yeah, but there's only like 3 radio stations I actually listen to, and there's only like 1 or 2 playlists I actually have on Deezer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure I want to go the full home integration, blinds and everything.
Yeah, but you can just spend $2,500 to have a weather show on your on your Halo remote.
Yeah, no. How about no? The TV already does that.
Oh, but a remote's cooler. It's smaller. You can,
You take out a magnifying glass.
But no, I do like that little remote. I really like it on the wall. Actually, that's
I mean, I'm also very much considering getting an A5.
Are you gonna do the basket weave, or are you gonna go with the oak?
I kind of want the inverse. I kind of want the inverse on the silver frame.
Oh, you want the dark oak on the silver?
I think so. Yeah.
It looks nice. We've tried it here in the shop. It looks nice.
I mean, I don't hate the basket weave, but it is a bit.
It's girly, bro. It's girly.
It's
Look,
sort of, I don't
Look,
know.
that's not a dude on the right hand side of that fucking picture, man. That's girly. It's just tied in together nice.
Like, I don't feel super farmer yet.
I know. This is like, what is this? Like, from a Children of the Corn? Freaking.
I think it's more like French farmer. Like, I eat baguettes in the morning.
I don't put out my cigarette before I throw it in the hay.
I drive my 2 chevaux to my chickens.
But yeah, I do see, like, for the outside, the basket weave makes more sense because it doesn't attract as much radiant heat from being black because it's all silver and reflective per se. But like, I don't know how the black one would stand up to sitting being forgotten in a sunlight, for a while. So
Yeah,
that's just my only thing.
Fortunately, our roof extends over the sort of patio area where we sit outside. So, like, it won't ever actually be in the sun. I mean, whilst it isn't in the sun, it's hot enough down there.
Mm-hmm. Well, fudge, you can still buy the goofy basket weave and then or Nordic weave, whatever they call it, and get yourself the spare grills.
Yeah. Just considering.
Should look on the exploded view if the handle is available, so you can swap the handle too.
You can. I'm 90% sure of it. I mean, maybe my dealer wants to be new in the shop, and maybe it's like, I can do this, like, no extra charge or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
But yeah, A5 sounds great. Unfortunately, it sounds better than level. That's unfortunate for the level, in my opinion. But
Sandeep says, do an Andrew Robinson A9 on a covered patio. Actually, that's more what I was thinking for the A5. Because I have a pool, and it's pretty large.
Okay.
And I'm not that fond of an A9 type speaker of that magnitude with potential of my niece going in the water, being near speakers of that magnitude.
But if you wall mounted it in the covered area, wouldn't that be all right?
It probably would be, but I wouldn't want an A9 only for outside duties.
Get some spiders and shit into the baseboard.
That sort of stuff. It's like, no, if I want an A9, I want it to have it for like 10 years, right? And it may survive 10 years outside, but I'm not that confident.
You're gonna wake up one day, it's dead. You open it up, and it's like Eric in Australia with the Avant fucking dead lizard on the video board. Oops.
Yeah,
that's not warranty.
So I'd rather have an A5 that you sort of bring in and out. I mean, the doors to the outside, people will see eventually in a YouTube video. They are pocket doors, so they're double doors that then
Yeah.
slide into each other and then slide all the way behind the wall. So
So all of
effectively,
it opens.
yeah, like half the wall to the pool
Oh,
disappears.
so you can cook the 50s as well, basically,
Oh yeah,
and
the
and you
50s
can hear them
are
outside.
outside speakers that are standing indoors, essentially. Yeah,
So
I'm sure the bass will be big enough. I'll have to have a tuning done with all the doors open and with the microphone because the cord is long enough just to sit like in the middle of the pool, right, with the microphone.
I would. That'd be interesting to see if it. I would do it like more or less in the middle of the night when it's quiet as possible, so you don't have any traffic or outside noises, because they do. I've had 50s fail a couple times on me,
Yeah, once or twice. It's actually weirdly,
and it's not like they failed because the app. Like I have, like right in the middle of the tuning, like the thing is 3/4 in. Like if the first speaker's done, it's doing the second side. And then the client comes and says, "Oh, is it done yet?" I'm like, "Fuck!" And it just error. Right? Thanks, buddy. We're doing it again.
Well, I had a few warnings where like we've detected too much exterior noise or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but weirdly here in the early evening, it's actually the quietest because I want to say past about 11 or so. It's when all the hot boys and the souped up Hondas come out.
Oh Christ! All the potato gun mufflers are on, and
yeah, and the road I'm close to is really quiet now. Like I don't hear a thing, but it's 5 lanes both ways. Like it's 5 lanes that way, 5 lanes the other way. And we don't hear a thing during the day, but at night, once there's I guess no cops or other traffic, it's
fuck.
And then usually 5 minutes later, you whoop, 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 whoop.
Oh yeah, of course somebody got pinched.
But I mean, it's not loud at all. You only hear it if you sit outside.
You know what? I do have to admit that I have not seen as much road rage in Calgary as I have seen here in those 8-9 months that I've been living here. Like people lose their fucking mind up here, bro. Like. Yeah. They lose their mind here.
Yeah, I've yet to see it here either. I mean, I think it's mostly because people don't care about just about anything. I'm not supposed to say this probably nowadays because YouTube probably offends, but you know that
we'll try and get canceled now.
that Family Guy meme about Asian drivers.
Asian lane change? Oh God, that's
so recently I had to take an Uber back, and I had one of those lane changes, and the driver was Asian, and he didn't know where our street was. And as I said, it's 5 lanes one way and 5 lanes the other, right? So he was in like the furthest left or the second left, and then he just like 4 lanes over in one go.
Wow, I would be shitting myself.
I was sitting in the back and I was like, oh.
This is real. Oh, I've seen some shit here, man, that it's just mind-blowing on the road.
I mean, we made it. We didn't crash, and I think it's because nobody cares around here about traffic laws of any kind.
The craziest I've seen here so far, sorry to interrupt, was last weekend during the Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
Because apparently in Montreal, when there's Grand Prix, everybody races. Not just the people in the formulas, and everybody fucking races.
Well, you're a Formula One driver for a weekend,
it's insanity, right? Yeah, it's insanity. So I picked up my friend because they came from Calgary to watch the show or whatever, to watch the race, So I picked them up from the island, and we're coming back, and these fucking guy on a motorcycle just like screams by us in a tunnel. Like, bro, are you out of your mind? And as soon as we come out of the tunnel, I just see kung kung, and fucking guy just flies off. The bike's all over the map, like literally just dumped it at 100 kilometers an hour.
Oof.
Yeah. The only protection other than probably condoms in his pocket and a helmet, none. So, and I couldn't believe he actually got up as we're driving by him and he's trying to pick up his bike. He was in fucking shock for sure. I'm like, you moron! Like, see what the fuck? Like, was that worth it?
Yes, because you were cool for a minute.
You were cool for a minute, and the pothole almost ended your life because I don't know, but people drive crazy in here. It's very very different experience than Calgary. So, and now I understand why. 2 lanes are one because you can't drive side by side because not just one of y'all, both of y'all will lose a wheel at some point on that road. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I finally got my car fixed. Everything is fixed on it now.
Sweet.
As far as the engine, yeah, I had some fucking gremlins in it, bro. But now it's all fixed, so I'm rocking and rolling. Plan a trip. My girl wants to go to Mont Tremblant, so we're gonna go next week. But I would like to go to Quebec City instead for the long weekend. I think it would be nicer. So we will see. Hopefully, it's not going to be that smoky as it is right now, because that's ridiculous. But what can you do? Speaking of smoky, I have a smoky. So, yeah, I don't know how many people agree with me in the chat regarding the synchronizing the video sound with the rest of the network link, but I think it's we should take a vote on it. Let's poll this nonsense. Just to prove the point.
Yeah. I would like it to be done, for sure. But
also, another thing that kind of is weird that I noticed in the shop, we have the BLI OG, I guess, because now there's a Gen 3 or second gen to the BLI, which is white in a box. I don't know what the difference is other than maybe faster processing or whatnot. But like if you're not running IP cameras, I don't think you'll ever see it. Because the commands and like the stuff that you shoot out of your remote control as far as the macros, it's very, very simple and quick. Like I've never had issues even on the Masterlink gateway, let alone the BeoLink gateway, so now 4 generations ago. But I cannot pair the 2 new installed theaters in our showroom. I have to contact Chemo because I remember last time we had to do it, they enabled something on the gateway in order for it to work. So all of my showroom is working other than 2 theaters.
Is there like a limit or something to how many of the same device you can connect?
No. We have freaking 2 pairs of 28s, which is essentially 4 speaker entities on the gateway, right? Because it all goes by the serial number. It doesn't care. Technically, there's really no limitation to even the network link other than the amount of IP addresses you're able to do. So you can run, if you have fucking NASA's network, then you could run maybe 250 network link rooms, in the same token. But it's more or less down to how fast can the switch and the router community manage all of those devices. Because once you start streaming in BeoLink multi-room experience, there's a lot of data that goes between things. No, Sandip, I don't think. He says audio from video sources were removed as a setting option ages ago. Ain't coming back. I hope it does. I really do, because it's something that is more important. I don't think that. And I'm not criticizing B&O. I just don't think that they had realized that if you're now integrating with panels from LG, like you need to also consider the fact that like if people listen to YouTube Music or sometimes people just stream directly into the panel through the Apple TV app instead of going into the theater, then you have a network link delay because it's now a video source considered. So that's one thing. Also, when it comes to the gateway, I wish that the theater was a little more focused on or paid attention to as a product for integration. There should be more, like there's what Kareem wants, and it makes complete sense in the showroom. when you turn on all the panels, he wants it to go to the art gallery, because then it goes to the screensaver of nice pictures, and they flow in through the entire showroom. It looks fucking cool.
Mm-hmm.
It looks absolutely cool, especially when the TVs more or less are synchronized, or that input is selected in synchronicity with all of them. So then it looks like one solid piece is moving across the entire showroom. And I wish that was doable, but I can't select the art gallery source. So that's one of those things.
There must be a reason for it. I mean, it must be if Sonos can do it, surely others can do it too. But maybe
Right.
it's I don't know. It's there is a line of thinking, and usually the answer that B&O gives in one way or another is like less than 5, 2, 3, whatever percent of customers will ever face this issue, so we're not going to implement it. And it's kind of like,
I don't think that's necessarily true. That's only that little people, right?
Why offer it? Like it's the same with like only less than 1% of customers with a theater have height speakers, right? So we're not gonna know what the z-axis is, because like if they're in the same plane, just manually change it, it's fine. And it's sort of like, but then why offer it with like the whole Dolby Atmos height thing?
Right.
It's like, I don't understand. Like either it does this correctly or it doesn't, and the workaround works, but it's kind of like how is this a sales pitch? I mean, it's sort of like saying your Ferrari, LaFerrari or whatever. Yeah, it breaks up if you press 100% throttle, but only 1% of the customers will ever do that. It's sort of like, wait, what?
Yeah, that's insane, right?
So, like, it's a weird thing I can't get into. Like, why sell it like this? Like, say it has these capabilities, but then it's sort of, if you know what you're doing, kind of.
Mm. But I still
surely as the sort of audio brand, like everything about B&O is niche, other than the portability stuff, right? Like,
yeah, because they have to face a certain standard with that.
yeah, but like every TV and setup is a niche, because the whole reason for like these movable stands is because it has to sit like it doesn't fit the cookie cutter shape.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. There's gaps in the software. I don't think, like Icor says, that they tie themselves in the knots, software knots, with the Mozart. I think that, in my opinion, I wouldn't promote the fact that this platform is underutilized by almost 50% or 50% that they're saying. That wouldn't be my lead whatsoever. But I would more or less focus on the expandability and just cross compatibility between not just the older and newer platforms when it comes to B&O. Like, why can I not, if I'm streaming from the theater and I join with the Emerge a B&O radio, why doesn't the Emerge keep playing when I shut down the theater? It does it on the ASC platforms. That makes no sense to me. Like, if you shut down the lead product, everything turns off in the room. It's more or less like an all standby command, but I didn't do that. I didn't want that.
But
why does it do
doesn't
that?
actually turn off, right? If I'm not mistaken, it shuts the music down, but the product stays on.
No, if you shut it down with the power button, the theater actually powers down.
Yeah, but like
if you
what
press
I'm saying
play,
is
it'll just come back. It'll come back if you press play.
Yeah, but what I mean to say is, like, if you have your theater as a lead product and you have your BeoSound 2 or whatever, and you join the BeoSound 2 and you turn the theater off, the BSM2 will stop playing music, but as the product
It won't go to standby.
No, it doesn't actually go off. So you're
No.
just removing the audio source, essentially. Which
Exactly.
is not the
And
same
then
thing.
it takes, 3 or 5 minutes, whatever, for auto standby to kick in if you have it turned on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just those little things that, I understand that it's niche, so is the entire product line. But also, I think that their focus on, like, I understand the younger generation maybe doesn't really care for the networking of things, but do they not care for the networking of things because of lack of explanation and understanding? I would say 100% yes, because that's not like we do a lot of networking setups here because Kareem pushes it. He knows that, like, fuck, you can have this, but you can have that, and they play in the same room, right? Like, we've done a pair of emerges with the stage in the other room under the TV, and the guy was over the moon. Like, it's like, holy shit, I could listen to this and that, on both. But yes, you can, but you can't listen to your CD player from the stage to the emerges because it's going to be delayed. That's silly, right? Because it's a line in input. For some reason, it's delayed. Well, we know the reason. But anyway, so there is a lot more of it. And if it's properly explained to a person that, like, yes, you don't really have to use your AirPlay phone app to join things together. You can just, like, if you walk to the bathroom and you want to just join the experience, you just press and hold the play button for 3 seconds. It goes beep beep, and freaking music comes on, and everybody's happy. Like, it's a completely different experience versus all the other products that are on the market where the one touch play is more or less non-existent.
Yeah. I
So
hope we can get there again, because that all used to be fine.
mhm.
And I mean, my solution is definitely not a possibility for most people. Just buy bigger speakers and turn them off.
Well, what if you can't? What if you have a scenario like me? Like, yes, I have a big enough set of speakers on the theater to listen to it in the bathroom without any issues, even with the fucking door closed. But then also my neighbor listens to all of that through the wall as well, right? And
Yeah.
both neighbors. So you now understand what the walls are like here. Obviously, that it's just paper, man.
Buy a house, you pleb.
Right. Not in Montreal.
Like, we don't want our customers to live in cities. Ugh.
So yeah, but that's it's more or less a constructive criticism that I have for to be to take it with them for the vacation time and just think about some things and products. Maybe take a few products home and live with them and see how they interface and interact. See how many times you gotta repair or reboot the Beo Remote one because your theater doesn't turn on with it. It just
Better yet,
drops
give it to your significant other and have them do it, and don't say anything. Just look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
See how self-explanatory it is.
I was not that I was surprised, but I was pleasantly, I guess, surprised with it with my girlfriend. Like, and I gave her the remote and I showed her the first time, like, this is, how it works. If you're sitting on the couch and your head is on that side, you can just go to speaker, put it to lounge, everything will turn to you. And then, it's just like, it really makes sense, like how you live with this product, that you can just turn, like, you don't have to have the TV statically all the time, right? Like, if it comes to you, even though it doesn't, but it does.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's funny because it's sexy and it's convenient and it's something that not everybody has, I guess, right? It's just
most people's TVs don't move. No.
no, they move when they move from the apartment or whatever. But yeah, it's just not something, like if they move, it's on their articulated stand or wall bracket that you have to manually move out. Or if you go with, like third-party moving stands, it's a different story completely because they're loud and noisy. Where B&O it's silent. It's not even quiet. It's silent.
Yeah.
You can't hear.
The way it should be, essentially.
Like, you're more likely to hear cables creaking within the loom bind than you would hear the motors or the squeak or anything. Like, it's not.
Sure.
90's missing a bottom panel.
Yeah, it wasn't on yet.
Is that your dealer showroom?
Yeah, and these are the 90s I may potentially be looking at.
You gonna keep them in that color?
I would probably.
Hmm.
The only thing I'm kind of the most on the fence by is the gold, but it's actually not too golden on these, I would say.
It doesn't look that golden, quite honestly. Like I haven't seen those in real flesh.
God, the 50s in gold are hideous to me. So are the 28s for that matter. Like it's too much. It's I don't like it at all. But on the 90s, I actually kind of like it because it's an accent color, not the main color.
Yeah, that's right. It's very, very minimalistic for aluminium grills or aluminium crowns. Like it's just not something that stands out.
No,
Are the logos, are they golden as well, or are they silver?
they're golden,
They are
but
golden, hey.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, it's the same. Like Sandeep says, like the Gold A9. You barely noticed it. Yes, it's the same concept with the 90s versus 50s, because 50s have a lot more aluminium presence than the 90s. 90s basically it's just this huge construct of geometry and fabric. Really, it's not looking like anything else other than a huge fucking lamp.
Yes. I, I really love 90s, but I must say in terms of like uh they are an enormous presence and that must suit you because they
They
are
are.
big and chunky, and I would say 50s are in a way prettier, especially with the aluminium grills on them.
Hmm.
It's a bit more subdued and easier to place.
Yes. Well, 90s are freaking huge, man. Let's just know. Let's not get
Yeah,
ourselves.
and I'm not even talking with the weight, right? Like just in terms of how they look and
Their overall presence in the house or in
yeah,
a space. Like it's a huge speaker. It is a huge speaker.
and I mean, it for me still a lot of it, and I think for almost everybody in the world, essentially, unless you're the 0.1% B and O's after nowadays, it comes down to price.
Yes. But I do agree with Guy that they shrink into the background in their architectural presence. They do, but they only do it well in the light colors. They are way more dominant in, like, let's say, black, Parisian midnight blue, or the iron gray. It's definitely a different speaker look than.
Also, this TV is enormous.
83.
Yeah, it's the big harmony.
You know what's funny? Like we had, like when we were redoing the shop, and we had the 83-inch Harmony, right, with those huge lamellas and all that nonsense. And we had to take it apart, right, to move it so we can install the panels and all that jazz. And then you just take it apart, and this little cute square box that's your TV basically, right? If you take the mounts off and the lamellas off, it's just this little box that can be
Now
so
imagine doing
small
the
but huge.
97-inch harmony.
I know, I've seen the things in the internal comms, and it's gonna be very, very interesting. That's so big.
I mean, I really enjoy the 90s, but to me, a lot of it comes down to price. Because if the difference is going to be, I don't know, between 50s and 90s is going to be even so, like 40 grand or so,
Hmm.
I almost rather have another set of 50s.
Well,
I mean, and that's partially because I'm not the most musical purist person in the world, which I
yeah,
would
but even movies are fucking insane with the 90s, bro. Don't kid yourself.
sure. But I have a feeling with movies with 450s, you're better off than with 290s.
Nah. You don't gotta just two 90s, bro. Don't joke myself here. Like you got fucking two pairs of 17s as ceilings, right? And then you're gonna have 18s in the back. So tabaknak, like that's not bad at all.
Yeah, but I guess for the longest time, my ultimate, like when I decided, uh, and I keep vacillating between these two thoughts, right? Because I've always enjoyed 90s, but there are some like serious downsides. It's the major one is the price, then the weight, and then the size. Essentially, is how the hierarchy of downsides is for me. So when I initially and we're talking what 2017 now for me, when 90s were still affordable. My initial thought was like I listened to 90s, then listened to 50s, and they were close enough together that I thought I'd rather have 450s. Then I became in getting issues with 50s, and that whole saga started, and that's how we ended up on YouTube. And now I'm sort of back at like, 90s or 450s. I don't know where I land on that. I am still not the most I rarely ever sit down for music and want that pure stereo thing. I mean, I listen to music, but it's usually on the go when I'm doing something, cooking, that sort of thing, or I just want very loud for no reason because it's fun, essentially. So it's one of those where I mean, I have to talk price first, but I am very on the verge of like I don't know what to do.
Just do it. Lawrence says. I don't know.
So yeah, what guys is buying 90s in 2017 was 65 or 70,000 euro here, and the 50s were like 27. Now the 90s in Europe are 110,000 euro, and the 50s are like 42 or something.
Yeah.
45. So that delta has gotten even bigger. And it's just, I mean, the 90s went crazy in terms of pricing. So, yeah. I mean, I still remember a period in 2017, 18, 19 where you could get secondhand 90s for under 30K if they showed up.
Yeah, that's no longer happening.
No.
So
it's like, yeah. I love 90s, but I also very much love my 50s. So it's, I don't know where I'm. I understand the concept of the 90s supposedly being better, but that's also slightly subjective at this point. And like I say, I'm much more a movie film watcher than a music listener.
Do you listen to movies on wide mode in the 50s?
Generally, yeah.
So it's the same with when my 90s were set up in my old apartment, I always listened to them in the beginning when I had the Eclipse. I listened to the 90s in a narrow mode without the center channel because the Eclipse couldn't keep up. Neither could the Avant, really. But then I kind of just slowly sobered up from listening to shit at like 70 volume and whatnot because it's just too much. But then again, Deepwater Horizon, bro, every now and then, it's not bad to just give some bass.
Well, I'm not worried about my neighbors here. That's for sure. Like these houses are a bit older, so the neighbors are a bit further away. So like, there's a neighbor over here, which is the closest, but he's like 8 meters away from me, if not a bit more. Like there's a lot of neighborhoods around here where it's like 2 to 3 meters to a neighbor. Where the point of windows on the side of your house is like
you can see to his.
Yeah, you're just gonna cover them because otherwise you're just waving at each other all day long.
Yeah, 90's would be audible outside. They will be audible outside in that house for sure. Guarantee you that, man. They're just insane. But yeah, I don't think that you would need to reduce the speakers amount in the room. I still think more speakers the better you off.
Well, I mean, I have 3 sets of 17s, so
so you have two heights or 2 pairs of heights or ceilings, right? If you're gonna do them through the a proper setup.
I think I mentioned this like 2-3 months ago, whenever we were on last. Like the dream setup for a long time has been 50s front and now theater, but harmony works as well. 50s rear, and then all the 17s on the ceiling. So height front, height rear, and then the wide speakers just literally further out. So you have sort of that idea going on your ceiling for 17s.
But you can't do the front heights anymore. Can you?
Yeah, of course you can. Like 17s front height, wide, surround height. All on the ceiling.
Okay.
I mean, that would clean the floor up quite a bit.
But you still have to have 18s on the back, in my opinion.
No, those would go to, it would be 50s, and then on the ceiling, front height, wide, surround height.
Okay.
I mean, I could stick with 18s, but then it's more like 90s and then that thing in 18s.
Mm-hmm.
Or the ones you're still holding.
Oh, yeah. I still have those in the storage locker, yeah. Well, you can take that Smurf car over here if you'd like. Or you can travel now, can you not? Do they allow?
Idea. That's a long-ass drive to Canada.
So what?
Well, it's like 15 hours?
Probably. You take a road trip, bro. It's fine. You come back with some Lab 1s. It'd be easier than shipping them. Or way less risk, to be honest. To the Smurfmobile, Michael says. Let's go. I think I'm gonna have to factory reset my theater, unfortunately, to get rid of those presets in order for me to tune it again. It sucks.
Let's see. I'm looking at it now. Montreal to Tampa. It's even further. It's 22 hours without any stops.
Shit.
Jesus. Phew. That's a long ass way. It's 2,400 kilometers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can do that. What you were talking about with the 17s? Yeah, that makes sense. I see that. Yeah, I see that. That's perfect. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rework my stuff again. Pee in the bottle like every good Amazon worker does. Don't stop. 22-hour drive is a long ass drive, bro. Shiitake mushrooms.
Yeah, well, we did Wisconsin to here in one go, but that was with 2 drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And God, I'm not doing that again anytime soon. Because
Mark,
that
it's
was
only 11 hours to meet each other halfway. If that's not the point, because if I could go, I wouldn't be here anymore. I would have just dropped them off myself. I can't cross the border. That's the whole catch-22 here till I get my visa sorted out. So,
but I mean, Wisconsin to here was quoted by Google as 19 hours, and it took us 26 in total with stops and gas and food and
breaks. Yeah.
Oh, that was a day.
I love driving. Honestly, I do love driving. I don't like driving company cars because they're
Well, we were in a
fucking
U-Haul,
man.
right? Like I would have
That's just terrible.
I would have been so much better in a regular car,
Of
but this
course, but
U-Haul is like a fucking boat, and you're like floating, and and it's really small up front. It's not made for 6'3" people. It's not made for people my height.
no.
Like I could either have my legs almost fully extended, but then you sit up like that, like straight up, right? So if you want to sleep, you sleep like that. Because you can't.
No, it sucks. Yeah, you can't recline. No,
or you recline, but then you sit like that with your legs.
Yeah, it's terrible. No, the U-Haul. I've never done a long trip on U-Hauls, but for just a little that I had to drive them, like this would not be fun to go. Like let's say, like I think no, Nick moved from Montreal to Calgary, but he just packed the shit in the car and drove. But it's definitely something to drive that thing over. So yeah, a few more months and I'll be out of here, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to my dealer on Tuesday, so we'll see. I'll have an update because I need to talk to him anyway because I want to know what it costs without any taxes applied, because that no longer applies when you ship outside the EU. To buy an A5 floor stand.
Oh, because you would just have to pay duties on it here, which isn't that tragic.
But the duties are like 10% ish, but the sales tax there is like 21%. So yeah. I kind of want a floor stand for the theater, not to have the screen on, so I don't need the vase mount, just the theater, so that can. Why do you think he's in Canada? He had to get out of the US after JFK got killed.
That's right. Exactly. But yeah, so are you gonna have the theater just articulated on the floor stand and that's it, and the big TV on the wall?
Yeah.
That's an interesting concept.
And I mean, potentially give it a year or two once those 97-inch panels become a lot cheaper. I'd be very okay with having that on the wall.
Yeah, 97-inch. They're still very, very up there price-wise. I think they're what, 40K or something like that? Canadian maybe, but they're not cheap at all.
Not sure. I think they were like 22 or something, but if you go for the the Harmony, you're paying $63,000 US. I'm pretty sure this is US. Yeah, that's US. That's an expensive Harmony.
Well, what I don't understand, like the bespoke walnut lamellas for the 77 are on the bespoke program, sorry. But if you buy an 83-inch with walnut, they're not. It's just a part of the stock. But those wood lamellas are like $10,000 for just the grills themselves. So, yeah, it's getting up there.
Let's see what's Canada.
I wonder if they're gonna do the Mozart platform on like a Mark II Harmony, or if it's gonna be a dangerous idea, or they're just gonna leave it as it is.
In Canada, it's nearly 90 grand for a Harmony 97.
Well, it's more than 90 grand because here you will get 14% tax on it, right? So you're looking at another, what, at least 10 G's of tax.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's close to 100K for the TV. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is an awful lot of money.
But then again, you're paying a lot for that LG panel too. Like, it's not just the theater, because the theater, like that machine box is whatever. It's a fixed cost, right? The only real cost addition to you is the huge lamellas and the big LG panel. But I kind of wonder if they're gonna come up with another BeoVision concept, or the Harmony was the kind of the last shot in the dark for the B&O TVs, and now we're just gonna be more or less concentrating on integratable sound bars to multitude of different brands and so on.
Yeah.
But we had one client that we did the theater with the Sony TV, and it kind of works, but like the experience is so clunky that
It's not the same, no.
no, he's actually, I think we're going there next within next month. We're going there for sure. So within 2-3 weeks, and yeah, we're swapping the Sony for the G3 65-inch LG panel. It's gonna work perfect.
There's 4 reviews on the 97-inch OLED. I kind of want to see what they say. Unless
Me too.
Because that's $100,000 in sales of just 4 TVs. Okay. Oh, this must be a different size. Just a bit small for my space. Make a bigger one, please.
Oh God, or are they just sarcastic?
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, this is true. It's larger than life, but it's already like that on the 83-inch OLED.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's very often at home or whenever I watch TV, when like if tennis is on, right? Like they do that bouncy thing and you see the camera and like the tennis ball is like
a basketball. Fuck. It's the size of a pomelo, fudge.
Like, and I have a large head, but some of these talk shows, it's like, Jesus, your head is like 20% larger than mine. Oh, it's an enormous screen.
And that's, yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm actually very happy with the 65-inch from how far I sit from it. It's just perfect. Like, it's enough envelopment in the screen when we watch a movie here that, yeah, it's worth it. But I have to say, Amazon Prime is a waste of money, other than the shit shows up quick. But when it comes to like their movie offerings and whatnot, it's absolute terrible. Absolutely. Like, we watch a whole bunch of movies, man, and it's just 3/4 through the movie, just look at one another like, what the fuck, man? Like, why is it so cheesy? It's so bad. But I don't know. I guess the movies lost touch with reality nowadays. It's all CGI nonsense.
Even Netflix doesn't have it all anymore. And now, yeah, I mean, if you want to watch movies nowadays, you have to have at least 4 streaming services.
Mm-hmm.
Because Netflix has some, but not all, and a lot of stuff is leaving Netflix, and they even tell you. Like, even shit tier movies, right? Like, I was scrolling, and there's like this older Vin Diesel movie, like Chronicles of Riddick or something.
Mm-hmm.
They apparently did another movie, but then it tells you like, oh, it's leaving Netflix next month somewhere. And it's like, seriously? Like, somebody else wants this so badly? Like something that I don't think has ever been in theaters?
Right.
Okay. I mean, so, yeah, I mean, Disney is actually quite decent in terms of streaming, and because it's Disney, right? They own fucking everything.
Mm-hmm.
But even that is mostly Disney. So nowadays, that's like, do you want Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar? And that's it. So if you want all the other blockbusters, then you have to have Paramount. Or have to have Hulu. And it's like, you can pay for the basic Hulu, I think, and still get ads. It's like, so you're watching a movie and like 20 minutes in, you get an ad because you haven't paid them enough. It's like, oh my God. What are we doing here?
Right. So, well, that's just where it's at.
Yeah, it's all a bit, I mean, if you... It's time to go back to tradition and sail the high seas again. Like, somebody must merge these companies and decide how the royalties are paid, because it's much better if you have one service where you pay $25 a month, but you have access to everything. But it just counts who gets what, right? Like that's a better thing than having to have 5 different services. I guess the only good thing about Amazon is that if you have the thing, you have Amazon Prime, so you have overnight shipping.
And cheap shipping too. So that's, to me, that's an advantage. But other than that, I really don't see a point in having that membership whatsoever.
I mean, I found out there's an Amazon distribution center not far from here. Because we were driving down the road like 2 weeks back, and it's like, and in the middle of the road, there were like 50 trucks stopped. And again, this is 5 lanes one way, 5 lanes the other, so it didn't stop anything. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Is this a protest or something? Then you drive past them, and by now we're past like 50 trucks or something. It's like, I don't understand. And you look left, and there's like 300 other trucks. And it's like,
okay, that's the
Amazon.
beehive.
Like,
that's
holy
right.
hell, that's a lot of shit.
That's a hive, man. And it's probably a massive distribution center, like the hangars or whatever. That warehouse must be just insane.
There were like 400 18-wheelers. It was so much because the actual distribution center was so far away still. It's like, wow, I've never ever seen this in Europe because it just doesn't exist.
No, there's no space for it. We're here. It's just, the land is in abundance, really, in this country. So, but yeah. I don't know. I guess on the final note, I would wish everybody in BNO a happy summer and a good vacation, and definitely give a thought to what has been discussed today as far as the sound delays on the video sources. I think that would be a very big improvement to a lot of people's lives. If you are on vacation
and want to talk to us about it, we're here.
That's right. I don't shy off of anything.
I'm not going anywhere this summer. I mean, I already am here. I'm already in Paris.
You're already gone somewhere, for God's sakes. You just need to get your shit together now and set up.
Well, we're going to also remodel pretty soon. And I mean, I have a feeling living here, right? Like, I'll be going on winter vacations, not on summer vacations.
Pretty much. But, yeah, I've had enough winters. I'm hoping that I don't have to face another one here and go from there.
Yeah.
See where the BNO winds take us.
Yeah. Leave us a like, comment, share, and all that jazz. All the stuff is down in the description. Hope you have a good Sunday evening, afternoon, wherever you are. It's evening here. Or it's afternoon here. It's
afternoon here, and we're still in a long weekend, so everybody in Quebec, enjoy yourself the Monday off tomorrow.
And don't race.
And then, well, it's done now. It's done now. All the Ferraris are parked back in their respective garages, and everybody's driving normally
back on
now.
The tenders.
But next week is going to be a long weekend again because it's Canada Day. So I wonder what the Montreal brings into the table when it comes to.
Wait, is that like in America where like every Canadian stands around with like a leaf on their heart and? Okay.
I don't know. I haven't been to America on a Canada Day, but. I'm sure July 1 is not as insane as July 4 in US.
The amount of fireworks that are sold off the side of the road, it's insane here.
Oh man, you can go invade a country with that much firepower, for God's sakes. Like, it's insane.
So apparently you can't, like, even the Walmart has fireworks in it here.
They got guns in there too. They used to, I guess.
No, they do. They have guns.
They still
here
do.
In the
You
Walmart.
can still go buy guns, yeah.
But they have,
the fun.
Like, I walk here where I go to the Walmart. You walk in, and the first thing you see is like massive packs of fireworks, and then it says no smoking. And it's like, but nobody smokes inside anywhere.
But yeah,
and then you see all these tents along the side of the road because that's how you sell fireworks here. They put up tents, and the amount of gunpowder. Well, it's safer than indoors, right? Because the burst of tent burns down.
Yeah, but if the shit hits the fan, man, that's a lot of fire.
And you have these 18-wheelers that come in, and they're full of fireworks.
Wow.
And it's just, I'm amazed. I want to see what's going to happen in like a few weeks here, in a week or 10 days.
July 4th, next week, yeah. Tuesday is when it's gonna hit the fan for y'all. But I'm sure that it's gonna start on the weekend. So yeah, to all the Canadians, happy 1st of July or happy Canada Day for next week, and
Yeah,
we'll
happy
be back
Canuck
on
Day.
Sunday.
And see
We'll
you
be
next
back on Sunday.
Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
one. Bye.
Wrong button.